Well, 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 it's time for chapter 15 of The Girl Who Speaks Bear by Sophie Anderson, illustrated by Kathrin, Honesta and published by Usborne. Chapter 15. Valentina. Well, Yaga don't have iron teeth or eat bears or steal souls, Elena giggles. But some parts of the story are true. Yaga do help people remember things and celebrate their lives before they go through the gate and move on to the stars. That's what guiding the dead is. As for the bits about the bear Tsar, I haven't heard of him, so I've no idea if they're true. My mother might know, though. The front door swings open. The Yaga woman steps out. All the guiding is done. She blows air from her lips dramatically. Those that were in the house, anyway. She peers into the night and looks down at me, hands on hips. I can't imagine any more souls will turn up now. Not with you here. This is my mother, Valentina. Elena glances up to her mother. This is Yanka. You know, Anatoly's Yanka. Valentina frowns. Well, what are you doing in the forest all alone? Your Mamochka will be worried sick. My stomach twists at the mention of Mamochka. I grew bare legs, I mumble. Valentina looks down at my legs and her face bursts into a radiant smile. Bare legs, she exclaims. How wonderful. I shake my head, utterly confused. I'm not sure that Yanka wants bare legs. Elena looks from me to her mother. Why not? Valentina tilts her head. They're wonderful. A gift from the forest, a reminder of all that's magical and mysterious in the world. How could you not want them? Because I'm human. My voice wavers because I'm not even sure of that anymore. It's not your body that makes you human. It's your soul. Valentina picks off one of the blankets off the floor. She wraps it around my shoulders. Come on, let's get you inside and warmed up, body and soul. Elena, help the elk onto the porch. Cover him with blankets. He looks like he needs somewhere warm and dry to rest too. Yuri, I say to Elena, and Valentina ushers me through the door. The elk's name is Yuri. Inside, the rest of Anatoly's dogs, Bayan, Pyotr and Zoya, are all sleeping in front of a roaring fire. The sight of them dissolves the last of my worries about the Yaga. Anatoly's dogs would only relax like this if they felt safe, and if they feel safe, I know that I will be. The mantelpiece curves into a broad smile and the floorboards roll beneath me. I wobble on my feet. Even after everything that's happened, the idea of a living house is still bewildering. Valentina opens the door to a small bedroom. You can take off your wet clothes in here. I'll dry them by the fire. Wrap yourself in blankets from that shelf and I'll make more tea. Valentina leaves me alone and I peel off my wet clothes. The fur on my legs is cold and damp and the skin on my arms is sticky and wrinkled. It feels wonderful to rub myself dry and cocoon my body in huge woolen blankets. I sink into the chair I'm offered by the fire and waves of heat flow over me, making me heavy with tiredness. On the other side of the room, a table is laid with a feast for 20, but there's no signs of the people I heard laughing and dancing earlier. Where did your guests go? I ask, wondering if they really were dead souls who were guided to the stars. Oh, they left through another door. Valentina passes me tea and all kinds of comforting dishes from her table that she says need eating up. Mushroom stroganoff that made my stomach rumble earlier is as delicious as the smell promised. There's soft dark bread, Golubski cabbage rolls, fried potato quiche. Everything is delicious, and I feel much stronger once I've eaten. My muscles relax and a smile lifts the corner of my mouth. Elena manages to get Mousetrap eating salmon from her fingers, but then when he notices me watching, he lifts his nose in the air and announces he's off to search for mice. He sniffs his way along a skirting board until a knot widens into a mouse-sized hole. Mousetrap peers into it suspiciously before venturing inside. Moments later, Mousetrap is darting in and out of holes that open and close as fast as he moves, growling with a mixture of frustration and excitement. Mossy mounds rise and fall around him, and tiny shoots reach up and poke his shoulders when he's not looking. Play fair. Valentina throws a stern look up to the rafters. The house groans, and the shoots behind Mousetrap sink back to the floorboards. I've never seen a house like this before, I murmur. Of course you haven't, Valentina smiles, and I hope you don't see another one for many, many years. Only dead souls are meant to visit yoga houses. Valentina tilts her head. She stares at me till I shift uncomfortably in my seat. You look like your mother, she says finally. Mamochka? My brow furrows. I look nothing like Mamochka. No, Valentina laughs. Your birth mother. My eyes widen. You know my birth mother? Oh, I met her once, Valentina nods. After she died. Valentina's words land like stones on my chest. After she died? I repeat, clutching at the thought that I might have misheard her. All of my life I've wondered about my birth mother and who she was and why she left me in the bear cave and whether I'd get to meet her one day. I've known nothing about her, not even if she was alive or dead, but that meant that anything was possible. And now the first thing I discover about her is that she's dead. The knowledge burns deep in my chest. Elena sits next to me and rests a hand on my arm. I guided Nastasia to the stars, Valentina nods, about 12 years ago. Nastasia? I reach for my arrowhead necklace. The Princess Nastasia? Like in Anatoly's stories? Princess! Valentina chuckles and shakes her head. Anatoly cannot tell a story without embellishing it in some way. Nastasia wasn't a princess, but she was your birth mother, and she was strong and brave and kind. Like you, if what Anatoly tells me is true. How did she die? I whisper. She came here, fresh from a battle, with Smay, the fire dragon in the north. Smay is real? The arrowhead slips through my fingers, slicing a cut in my thumb. The stinging pain is the only thing that makes me sure that I'm not dreaming. Smay is very real, and very dangerous. Valentina's eyebrows fall, throwing shadows over her eyes. He's full of anger. Then why would my birth mother go to fight him? Well, she was trying to rescue your father. He was trapped in Smay's cavern. I'd imagine Anatoly has told you the tale of the great battle between your mother and Smay. I nod, remembering all the details of Anatoly's story. Nastasia's husband, my father, dropped into swirling dragon fire. Grief tearing through Nastasia, Smay tumbling through the sky and collapsing upon her. I stare into the fire unblinking. Could my parents really have been killed by a fire dragon? My thoughts churn and clash like meltwater and ice in a swirling eddy. I don't know whether to believe the story, not to grieve for my parents, or be angry with a creature I've never seen. I don't even know what a fire dragon is. Anatoly might embellish his tales, but there's always truth in them. Valentina reaches out and squeezes my hand. Your mother fought valiantly, but she died. A tear trickles down my cheek, and as I wipe it away, a vine falls from the rafters and wraps around my shoulders in a strange kind of a hug. And then your mother came here. Valentina glances around the room proudly. We ate and drank and sang and danced, and she took courage to the stars, and her only regret was not being able to watch you grow. She loved you dearly. She loved me. Something hard and tight unknots in my chest, and I turn to Valentina to see if her eyes are honest, but she's blurry through my tears. Your mother loved you as the stars light the sky. Valentina beams and my heart swells until I think it might burst. She didn't want to leave you, but she knew your grandmother would take care of you. My grandmother? The bear Tsarina. I open my mouth, but no sound comes out. Are you all right? Valentina peers at me with concern. The bear Tsarina is my grandmother? I whisper. Well, of course she is, Valentina chuckles. Isn't that where you're going? To visit her and talk about your legs? I was on my way to the bear cave, I nod, but I didn't know the bear Tsarina is my grandmother. Stories of enchanted trees and curses and bears and fire dragons swirl through my mind, and excitement buzzes inside me. I'm so close to discovering the truth of my past. The bear Serena is my grandmother, I say again, rolling the words around my mouth to see how they taste and feel. I wasn't abandoned in a bear cave. I was left with my grandmother. So the bear Tsar was your grandfather. Valentina nods. I guided him to the stars too. And their child, the one who was cursed to be a bear but who fought the curse and became human, your father? Valentina nods again. Her words are like fireworks, throwing back the shadows in my mind. These legs are because of a family curse. You could choose to think of them as a gift instead of a curse. Valentina smiles. I look down at my feet and frown, thinking about Mamochka's too wide smile, Sasha's look of horror. So, am I meant to be a bear or a human? Only you can answer that, Valentina chuckles. But if you want to know more about being a bear, then visiting your grandmother is a good idea. The house lurches sideways. Valentina nearly falls over. I grip the arms of the chair, but the whole thing skids across the floor. Anatoly's dogs wake and bark at the rafters. The fence bones clatter. Yuri screams from outside the porch. House, sit down, Valentina yells. Nobody said we're going anywhere yet. But the house surges up and up. Plates slide off the table and smash on the floor. What's going on? I ask, but my voice is lost in the chaos. Come and see, Elena shouts, and she beckons me to an open window. I sway across the tilting floor, kneel next to her, and I grip the windowsill. Outside, the forest flies past. A branch bangs into the wall, and I jump. It's all right. Look, Elena points down. The house is walking, that's all. The ground is far below, almost invisible in the darkness. The house's chicken feet pick their way between trees. Then its legs extend, lifting us higher. We rise above the snowy treetops, and the moon appears fat and bright. My heart accelerates as the house picks up speed. But the house jumps, my whole body lifts, weightless. Elena squeals in excitement, and I gasp in a mouthful of icy air. I feel the rush of sledging 1,000 times over. House, stop running! Valentina hits the rafters with a broom. Her face is red, and her headscarf's coming undone. When are you going to try to stop being so impulsive and start behaving sensibly? Mousetrap leaps onto my shoulder. I know where the house is going, he trills into my ear. Where? I shout, wind rushing through my hair. I told the house we came into the forest looking for cod, so it's taking us fishing. Laughter bursts out of me, because although I'm not looking for cod, and I've just found out my parents were killed by a fire dragon and my grandmother is a bear, and I'm not sure what I'm meant to be, it still feels incredible to know that my birth mother loved me, and there's magic in the forest and truth in Anatoly's stories. It feels like there are wonders to explore around every bend of the river. We're following the silver stream. Elena points to a curve of moonlit water shining between the trees. But I've spotted something else in the distance, and a thrill runs through me as I realise we're moving towards it. The blue mountain where my grandmother's cave is. Stars sparkle above its shining peak. House, stop running! Valentina shouts and bangs the rafters again, but the house speeds into a rolling gallop. Anatoly's dogs quieten. Yuri stops screaming, and Elena sits next to me, smiling at the view whizzing past. Valentina continues shouting at the house, but I don't want the house to stop running. I want it to carry me into a future in which I know all the stories and all the secrets of my past. End of chapter 15, which I thought was a good one. Chapter 15 finished, so I need to get on with my stuff and you need to get on with your stuff. But I'll see you soon. Look after each other. Be kind.